Okay, so we're gonna get started. So first of all, man, I had a question right now on what I was going to ask. Okay, so some of you are saying friends, business partners. Great. Okay, so we're gonna talk about three things. Oh, I remember. No, that's why I have my notes. Relationships with finding the love of your life, relationship with your, or some of you are married. Who on here is married? Who's single? Who has boyfriend, girlfriend? Put it on the chat. So we're going to talk about that type of relationship. We're going to talk about relationship with friends. We're going to talk about relationships with business partners. But the most important relationship, and something that I didn't bring up on purpose, was the relationship with yourself, because that's where we're going to start. Okay. And that's really the root of every relationship that you're going to build in the future, is the relationship that you have with yourself. The relationship that you have with yourself is what reflects on the relationship with a significant other or friends or business partners. Okay. You got to be your own bestie. I agree with that. So the first thing that I want to talk about, you guys, and this is something that I learned from my mentor on one of her recent seminars. I don't know if it was recent, but all my last 3 years have been like, whoo, just flew by. But she had a point on this. You have to be clear on what certain people in your life are, what their job is. Okay. Because sometimes we harm our relationships. And again, I'm talking from personal experience. For example, I harmed a relationship with my mother when I wanted her to be a part of my business mindset friend group of friends. Like I wanted my mom to have the same mindset as the group of friends that work with me in business. And I wasn't clear on where my mom really fit into the groups that I have in my life and what her purpose was as a friend to me, or as just someone else that it's a part of my life. That's something that I learned from my mentor. She said, you have to be clear on what every single person in your life, what's their purpose with you. So if I kept forcing my mom to be like my Monet people, my Monet friends, like hustle, 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 work, 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 phone, phone, phone. And, actually my mom was kind of, at the beginning, was against that lifestyle. Like she didn't understand why I was working all the time. So it became a problem. But I'm not going to get rid of my mom. Then we're going to talk about other type of friendships, or relationships that maybe you do have to get rid of. But when it comes to like family members, people that you love, that are not like actually actively like trying to harm you, they're just like, they have their own viewpoint. I had to realize that, what is my mom's purpose? What is the relationship? What is the purpose of this relationship? What is the purpose of this mom-daughter relationship? It's not for her. I mean, for some people might be, but in my case, it's not for her to support fully my hustle mindset and business, and to be on the same page with all of my team members as far as how we work our business. That is not the purpose of that relationship. The purpose of that relationship is that she loves me no matter what. And she's going to be there through the ups and the downs. And this is how she talks to me. And it used to piss me off when she would be like, I love you no matter what, even if you have money or you don't have money. Like, I'm like, and I was harming that relationship because I was expecting her to be like my work friends and relationship, where those relationships are like, go hustle, make money, do this, no excuses, da 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 da. So with that example, I want you guys to kind of group your family and friends into different bubbles, into different groups, okay? And I want you to do this mentally, or you can, if you're taking notes, literally make circles and be like, okay, this is my work friends. This is my entrepreneur friends. This is my family. It's the relationship with your family. This is me and my husband, or me and my wife, me and my girlfriend, whatever. These are my fun friends. These are my church friends. And then do groups and see how many groups you have. These are all relationships, okay? At some point in my life, I had a ton of different groups that I was a part of. So with this, I want to move on to the next thing. In order for you to have healthy relationships, okay, something that I did was that I cut ties with any groups that were involved in activities that were non-survival. And if you guys, do you guys recall pro-survival and non-survival from the last call, from the call that we did in January? If you do, type on the chat pro-survival activities. I know it's kind of a long word, but if you're engaged and if you're listening to me, then you can see if you recall that. Pro-survival activities. I talked about it on the first call. If you weren't on the first call, I can send you the recording. But basically, people that are doing things that are going to help me survive better, those are pro-survival activities. So in my case, in my personal opinion, people that were working out, eating healthy, working, being like good contributing members of society, they had healthy relationships, they didn't gossip. For me, those are pro-survival activities, right? Betterment actions. Okay, good. So what I had to do was awesome. What I had to do was cut ties with any groups that were no longer pro-survival activities. Now, also, my viewpoint changed, okay, because my party drinking friends, whom as individual people I still love until today, but those people, to me, 10 years ago, that was a pro-survival activity. Like in my head, that was like I was surviving better and I was dealing with life. And it was like my time to like disconnect and like have fun and take shots. And like to me, that was pro-survival. So that's why when I do these calls, like you might be at that season in your life when you're like, what is this girl talking about? Like I need to party, I need to drink, I need to forget about my stuff. But that didn't take me further in life. And it has nothing to do with the individual. Like my friends were not evil people because I wasn't evil and I was doing the same stuff that they were doing. You understand? But I did have to like cut the cord and be like, yeah, I just every time I hang out with them, and now I understood that it was a non-survival activity because the next day I was hungover, moody, my health was probably declining. I just didn't notice it because I was in my early 20s. So when you're in your early 20s, you can do whatever, you don't really notice it. So I stopped doing that. Okay, so that's like a little bit of homework for you guys. Do your little groups, your little circles. You might find that you also don't have many groups that you're a part of. So that's also trouble because you can't just disconnect from the world. That's not the right thing to do either. That's not pro-survival. You have to be connected. Okay, so now if I'm going to be a part of a group, okay, then I have to make sure that that group aligns with my morals, my values, my beliefs. But I also have this other side that I highly encourage you guys to maybe look into this idea where you trust yourself so much, okay? You trust yourself so much that you have the ability to go and put yourself inside a group that maybe does not share the same values and morals as you, but you can make a difference in that group and you can help that group. You understand where I'm going with this? Drop in the chat help if you are following with this. Okay. Be open to the idea because I'm not like the last thing that I'm going to do is you guys are like, oh, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to be a part of this group and F this group and F that group. And yeah, those people that believe in abortion, fuck them. And those people that believe in, like, okay, then what difference are we making? Be open to the idea that you believe in yourself so much. You have your morals, your values. This is what we're talking about. One first, before going into that love relationship and the friend relationship, you got to get yourself to trust yourself. Okay. Like tomorrow, I can bump into a group that supports something that I'm completely against. And I can think of pharma, meds, psych medication. I can literally bump into a group that maybe is doing that. That's actually a pretty extreme example, but maybe some people that are confused and that think that that's going to help them, you know. I can make a difference because I know that I would never touch those medication. They will never influence me to take them or touch them or sell them or be a part of that. So maybe I happen to be in that conversation in that coffee shop and I can say something and I can be a part of that group for that second to see if I can make a change. And then the group all of a sudden is like, oh, wow, yeah, wow, where can I get more information on this? And you made a difference. So in order to build strong relationships and for those relationships not to kill you or affect you, you have to get yourself in a position where you trust yourself and where you feel strong enough to have conversations with other human beings. And it is possible to achieve that. And how do you do that? By practicing, okay? By having friends, by networking, by socializing, and by getting to know yourself better and having your own rules, the kind of like your own policies with yourself. Like, it's not that every day I'm telling myself, I'm never going to get drunk. I'm never going to touch drugs. I'm never going to steal. Like, I'm not chanting this to myself every day. Like, I know this is just who I am. So I believe in myself. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. Like, I remember going out and saying to myself, like, I'm not going to drink and I'm not going to spend money. And then I would always end up buying like at least one drink or two drinks. And it's like, fuck, I can't trust myself. I can't trust myself. I have to do this. Like, it's just one drink, you know? So you got to start with yourself. So far, so good. And if you guys can turn on your cameras, I love seeing Daniela now. It's like I feel like I'm talking to somebody. So if you guys can turn on your cameras, please do so. Okay, good. So we got that out of the way. Now, we have the different groups. I'm gonna go back to my notes so I don't keep da-da-da-da-da. Okay, make sure that you understand the purpose of each person in your life or each group or relationship in your life, okay? Maybe you have a husband or a wife and you're expecting your husband or wife to be a part of your, okay, maybe I'm going to say this mostly for the girls. I know we have some guys in here, okay? So you just be the opposite. So I have my group of girlfriends and my group of girlfriends and I talk about everything. Like hair, makeup, outfits. We talk about, we actually, my group of friends, we talk about like church stuff. We talk about courses. We talk about life improvement. We talk about charitable stuff. And we get really excited. Okay. We get really, really excited. There are certain topics that I talk to my girlfriends about that I cannot expect my husband to get that excited about. How many of you ladies, be honest, have gotten upset at your husband when you come home so pumped because you're fucking saving the world and you're like, oh my God, this happened and that happened and oh my God, and she did this and I did this, and then your husband is like, oh, that's so cool, you know, like, oh, that's great. Or maybe your husband doesn't even acknowledge you and then not even paying attention. And you start like, oh my God, you don't care and you never listen. Take a deep breath for a second and understand and make sure you have it very clear. What is the purpose of your husband with you? What is his relationship? What's that relationship mean? What's the purpose? Because that way you're not setting him up for failure, ladies. Like I remember I told Steve something like it was a girl thing. It was such a girl thing. And I'm like, he's my husband. I'm going to tell him everything. And he like didn't even get it. So I'm like, oh my God, you don't get it. Whatever. I shouldn't even told you that. I'm setting the guy up for failure. Okay. Or you can do this with your mom, with your brother, or with some friends. Okay. Some friends might not be your entrepreneurial friends. Some friends might be the 9-to-5 friends. Good for them. They're working, they're making money, they're good, right? But you're talking to your friends about starting a new business venture and they're like, that's cool. And you're like, oh, they don't care. So you can't set people up for failure. Okay. So establish, that's the word that I was looking for. Establish the purpose of each relationship with you. Okay. So Let's move on to business relationships. Okay, let's talk about business relationships. So if you are a business owner, a CEO, you are the leader, okay, of an organization, and you are telling yourself the famous, I can't find good people. I can't find good workers. It's so hard to find good employees. Okay. Again, it's all going to go back to you. Okay. So what's your culture like? What kind of culture are you building? Do you even have one? Because for me, I know that if I'm not attracting the right team members, is because I have not established a culture that is so strong and so well known where I'm attracting those types of people. And to be quite honest, that's what I'm trying to do in my business right now. I'm trying to get people to show up on calls with me. And that's kind of embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. And that the culture that I want to set is that when we say we're doing a call, we're doing a call. When we say we're going to show up something, we're going to show up. Like the freaking culture that I'm trying to create right now is like, police have a schedule. But I don't know if you guys know my line of business. I work with people that work remotely. So it's a little bit more challenging. So in business relationships, if you're the leader, you have to set the pace and you have to set the culture. And you're going to have to go through a lot of people until you find those that are going to be willing to let you lead them. Okay, so it's not that you can't find good people, is that the good people can't find you because you're not doing an awesome job. And I'm talking mostly to myself when I say that. I cannot find the amazing, awesome hustlers, which I do have some of them on my team, but I can't find more because I'm not out there more telling people, hey, this is my culture. This is what we're doing. This is what we're creating. Look at this success story. Look at this person winning. Okay, so that's as far as business relationships. If you feel like you can't find good people. Now, if you are not a business owner, not the leader of any of like a company or anything like that, but you are a worker and you are a team member for a group, but you find yourself not thriving, okay? You find yourself not being able to make friends, then maybe you are in the wrong culture. Because if you can't be yourself, if you can't make friends with your neighbor, with the other lady in the office, or everything is gossip and everything is fight and everything is drama and everything is chaos, and you can't, like, I don't know, do better in your job, then that means you're probably in the wrong company because it doesn't align with your purpose. And when you're not on working with something that aligns with your purpose, this is when most people tend to be literally miserable. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you if you feel miserable. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't have any friends from work or if you can't find any good partners. What you need to look at is, am I actually within my purpose? Does this group fit within my purpose? Because if it doesn't, that's when you're going to feel a little bit off, and that's where you're not going to have successful business relationships. Another thing that I look in my business relationships is when somebody wants to work with me on a deeper level, like I have projects right now that I'm working, and these projects are very special projects that I definitely want people that have statistics. Okay, because their name is going to be attached to big things. Okay, so when I look at business partners, business relationships, I look at their personal statistics and I look at the people around them. Do they keep people around them with low statistics? Because if they do, that's a big red flag. Oh, look, we got balloons because I'm throwing out the piece. Okay, you can have an amazing business partner, which the person might be really amazing, but that person might have a mom, a dad, or a spouse, a wife, a husband that has extremely bad habits and low stats. And that will bite you in the booty, not even the partner. The partner is deciding to take that, but it will harm you and your business. So when I look at projects that are like extremely serious projects where I'm like, okay, if your name is going to be attached to this, your name is going to be attached to my name. Like there is a commitment here that everyone's going to stay at a certain behavior type of thing. So not only look at your business partners, but look at their relationships. How are their relationships? Are their relationships healthy? Do they have good communication with their spouse, with their children, with their family? Are the people around them getting sick, or are they healthy? Because that says a lot about how that partnership is going to go. Because if that person has chaos around them, most likely something is going to come up and they always says a stop. Sorry, I have to do this. Sorry, I had to do that. Sorry, I had to run. Sorry, my this. Sorry, my that. Sorry, I had to go save somebody. Sorry, I had to go save this person again. And they're going to be on this constant thing, and they're never going to actually be a partner. They're actually going to be a problem for you. Okay. Good. We're going to leave the love one for the end because I know that's people are interested in that one. But the next one is going to be your friendships. Okay. So again, your work friends are very different from your friendships. And now in my case, sometimes these mix a little bit and I don't mind it. I really like it. But I know when I'm wearing the friend hat and I know when I'm wearing the leader hat, right? So they're two different hats and I have to like switch them if I have friends that kind of go in those two groups. Okay, so for my friends, for the friendships, I'm going to ask each and every one of you these questions, okay? Are you a good friend? Can you genuinely, truly, 100% say, I am a good friend? What is a friend anyway? Yeah, because a friend is not somebody that just takes bullshit from everybody, by the way. A friend is not somebody that's on like just, oh, poor person. And that's not a friend. For me, a friend is somebody that is actively interested in my success. That genuinely wants to see me win. The other question is good. I see some yeses here. The other question is, do you have the best interest in others? Do you genuinely want to see your friends win? Or are you making up this imaginary competition between you and your friends? Because I mean, sometimes like I've been there. I've been that friend where I'm like, oh my God, why is she getting ahead of me? Weirdest shit ever. And I don't know if I'm being too honest, but I know that I've been that person where I'm just like worried. Like, why am I worried about this person winning? That used to be the old me. Okay. So that didn't make me a good friend because maybe, yeah, she was my friend, but unintentionally I would say and do things to not help this person. So you got to be honest with yourself and catch yourself sometimes with these thoughts that you have, right? Do you truly want to see your friends succeed in life? Because when you can feel that for somebody else, you can have it for yourself. Your friendships are truly a reflection of who you are. And you guys can see this in groups. Groups kind of like when they click, they kind of look the same, they kind of dress the same, they kind of talk the same, they kind of have the same morals, values, interests, likes, right? And it's cool. It's cool to have that group. It's really cool to find like people that you can relate to and that you can talk to and that they understand you and they support you. But one thing, nice. Well, one thing that I would say, guys, that I really value from my friendships today and from experience, again, I'm going to tell you is that there is really no time for negativity or gossip. That is not a friendship. Friends are not there to just sit there and gossip or talk about other people or the bad things that are happening. And I don't know, like, that's just like, friendships should also be to create something, to create experiences, to have fun, to do pro survival activities. And your friends are an extension of who you are. And so that's why it's okay to be picky. And I'm talking about like your close circle of friends. It's okay to do that. It's okay to expect the best from your friends, but you have to expect the best from yourself. And I'm saying this from personal experience because I feel like in my 30s, And this is not to say that you cannot have these friendships in your 20s or your 40s or whatever, but it's just in my life, in my journey, I happen to have some really amazing friends in my 30s. And they're the best friends that I could ever ask for. And I'm very happy with them, but I did a lot of work before that group kind of formed. And I'm hopeful that that is going to keep growing. So with friendships, and this is going to move us along into the love relationships, okay? You have to create on those friendships. You have to talk to your friends. You have to maybe go have coffee. You have to maybe go do this. You have to do that. You have to say, hey, how are you doing? How is business? Is everything okay? How can I help you? Okay. It's the same thing with friendships. Now we're going to go into the love relationship. Okay. And how do you find the love of your life? How do you find that person that you can trust? How do you find love? Right. So a couple of years ago, I realized that love is not what people should be looking for. You might agree with me, you might disagree with me. So if you're looking for love, you're most likely looking for just a feeling that might be exciting for a second, but if it wasn't the right person to fall in love with, you would be in trouble. Who has gotten their heart broken? Drop, I don't even know what to drop, like a little heartbroken emoji, but you can drop the word heart on the chat if you've gotten your heart broken. Okay. And let me tell you, most likely you were looking for love. And I'm going to tell you the two things, or the one thing that you need to look for someone before you look for love. Before you start looking for that thing called love, you need to look for this thing. You need to look for someone who you admire. Love is overrated, and love will get you your heart broken if you start with that first. Okay, because obviously you're going to love the person that you marry or that you start going out with and dating, of course. But admiration, someone that you admire, think about this. Take love outside of the equation for a second and find somebody who you admire. Admiration. The definition of admiration is respect and warm approval. Respect and warm approval. Another definition is something regarded as impressive or worthy of respect. How are you not going to fall in love with someone that you actually admire and respect? Do you know how many heartbreaks we could avoid if people were looking for someone that they admire rather than love? Because when you start with love, you're in trouble, my friend. Because this is an easy thing that we get sold. Love, and look for love, and money's not important. Love is important. And if you have love, you have it all. No, you don't. Love can go away like this. Just as fast as it comes, it can go. Admiration takes time. For you to admire somebody, that person has had to do things before. Exactly. I love some cheeseburgers. That doesn't mean they're good for me. I love that. You can love many things, but do you admire a cheeseburger? Like, it's a worthy your respect? I mean, maybe the best cheeseburger in the world, but that's a big difference. It's a good example. You have to, for those of you looking for the love of your life, okay? Those of you looking for the partner, don't go out there and put the thought of, I'm looking for love, because you're not looking for love. Love will come. You will feel this. It's a feeling. Guys, love comes and goes. But the one thing that does not come and go towards my husband is how much I admire that man and I respect him, because he shows up and he just shows up. Are there days where I'm like, oh God, like I'm like, ah, right? And can I say, I'm like, I'm so in love with him and butterflies and rainbows? Maybe not. Like now, when I really think about it, I'm like, I don't know. Like there's times where shit gets like real because we're going towards like these past few years, we've been going through to a huge target with lots of barriers that most people did not see. Right. And he was pushing me. I was pushing him. There's things sometimes that he said that I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, and I said things to him just to push each other into the future. Right. But admiration didn't leave. Love is a feeling. It comes and it goes. And you have to create on the love. Okay. What's important for me to be on the same page with my future partner and trust. Exactly. Trust. Absolutely. If you admire somebody, you know, you respect them and there's someone impressive, you definitely like, they have those things. They have trust, someone that you admire, someone that you trust, someone that you respect, but stop looking for love. Okay. So that is the biggest message that I wanted to send to those of you that are looking for the love of your life and the perfect partner, which I think that everyone should have. I know that you can go further in life with the right partner, and you can really not ruin your life, but whatever years that you have with the wrong person who you don't admire, it can set you back. That doesn't mean you can come back. Okay. Now, maybe you are in a relationship right now and you're like, oh my God, I love my partner, but I don't admire my partner. Okay. Because I know a few people that are in that position where they've already fallen in love. They have this feeling and they're like, but I don't like those actions that this person is doing. That's not worthy of admiration, warm admiration, respect, and warmth approval. Like, I don't feel that towards my husband or my wife or whatever. Well, the good thing is that you can communicate in a loving way and say, look, I was on a call and they were talking about love and admiration. Do you admire me? You have to have those tough conversations with your spouse. Okay. Steve and I have conversations where it's uncomfortable, but then once we know, we're like, okay, now we need to get to work. But we are each other's best friends, so we can have those conversations and we are both open to improving. So if you are in a relationship right now where you feel like you don't admire or respect your significant other, then it's time to sit down. It's time to write your goals down together. It's time to see maybe your needs and wants and his needs and wants, and see if you guys can give that to each other. If you can give that to each other, then work on it. No, there's no school for marriage. There isn't really. Maybe one day there will be, but there isn't a place where you can go to school to learn how to be a good wife or a good husband. We're trying to figure it out. The one thing that I know that I could help is lots of communication and treating it like a business. It is a relationship, and it's a business. It's the business of marriage. So don't think money and this and transactional activities. No, but it is a business. I have a schedule. Steve has a schedule, work and personal. We have goals. We track the spending of the money. We're very honest with each other. We tell each other things that we feel it's necessary. We don't tell them every single detail because we trust each other. But when it comes to finances, we don't hide anything from each other. And I've been guilty as the female in the relationship. I think sometimes we just swipe the card. Okay. If you guys can relate to me, you just swipe the card and you're like, oh, oops, well, we needed it. We needed it for the house. And then your husband comes and is like, what is this? Okay. Liz is laughing because she's like, yeah, but look, I want to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to give you real life examples. And this is what happens in marriages. And then when the wife has those transgressions towards the agreements that you had with your husband, that's when the problems start. That's when you start bickering at your husband. You start becoming critical to your husband. You start to find what's wrong with him because you know you swiped the card. when you had an agreement that maybe just let's slow down on the car swiping, you know? So honesty, trust, like Vivian said, okay, but ask the question, do you admire me? Cold to your partner. And if they're like, what? Of course I admire you. Okay, do you know the definition of admiration? I want to show you the definition of admiration. Respect and warmth, approval. Something regarded as impressive. Impressive. Do you think I'm impressive? Be ready for some answers, my ladies and my gentlemen. Worthy of respect. Your husband would say, I respect you, but we're impressive. No, be honest. What would be impressive to you? It would be impressive if you woke up every morning and went to the gym. How many of you ladies are willing to hear that from your husband? Because shit, my husband tells me all the time, I like it when you work out. Okay. Or vice versa. Maybe you're the one that works out and your husband doesn't work out. And so you're like, look, you know what would be impressive? If you woke up every morning and you hit the gym and you lose that belly. And your husband's going to be like, but it's the truth. Why would you lie to your significant other? You love them, right? That's the thing about love. Oh, you can't hurt your feelings. Oh, you gotta love them just the way they are. Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing, the worst thing ever. You do not want to love them just the way they are. No. Okay. So ask your partner that question. If you're single, it's kind of easier because now you can just look and find the one you admire. When you see a woman walk in, you see a man walk in, you can just immediately, there's something that they give out that you are like, wow, that person walked in. Or you meet someone on a networking event, or you meet someone on Instagram or whatever. Now people are like literally getting married on Instagram because they see how you present yourself. They admire what you've done. They admire who you are. They admire what you're currently doing. And they're like, okay. So I want to know if you guys liked this point on the love relationships, on instead of looking for love, find admiration on somebody. Admire the person that you're with, because that goes far. That admiration is something that, number one, you and your significant other have to work at it constantly. It's work. Love comes second. And you should definitely be creating on that and creating experiences, getting flowers, cooking dinner for your husband. However, you guys have that agreement, then do that. Yeah. What are some ways that you show love to the other person and continue to create on that? Oh, but I got you flowers last week, but I got you flowers here. No, but like, hey, we're creating. So I cooked for you last night. I'm not going to cook for you today. That's my way of showing love. And have what your wants and needs are and communicate them. And look, if your husband or your wife starts to get jumpy about it, you don't get jumpy about it. You come back to our group chat on Instagram and you just look for positivity and you make the change. You start to be more loving. You start to do things that are worthy of admiration. You start setting the example. And that's how you build strong relationships. You do the work. When you do the work, magically everything around you and everyone around you starts to get better, or they get the fuck out of your way. That's how simple it is. When you do the work, I'm going to repeat that, things around you start to get better. When you set a good example, people around you will get better. And if they don't get better and they choose to continue to have bad habits and they choose to continue to not be worthy of admiration and respect, they will find a way to get out of your way. They will find a way out of your life. You guys know where I'm going with this? They would definitely find a way to be like, oh, you change, you're a bad person and I'm going to leave. But you know you're doing the right things. Okay? So I hope that you guys enjoy this call. I really, really want to do more with this group. We have like 100 people on there. So I wish we have more people on the call, but I know this was a little bit last minute. Let me know what you guys want on the next call, most likely in March. And please share. I will put a little poll on the chat so you guys can share any takeaways from tonight's call. Have a blessed rest of your Wednesday, and I will chat with you guys on our channel on Instagram. Bye, everyone.